Hi, and welcome to the PhD Career Story podcast. This is Tina Persson, and today's guest is Aditya Parekh. PhD Career Stories is a podcast created and done by PhDs to inspire other academic professionals in their career. And today's guest has a very fascinating story, I would say, because the title that we have agreed about could be a suitable title is Can You Trust Your Gut to Guide Yourself in Your Career? And that means, can you trust your interests? Can you trust your gut and your feeling and connect your heart with your stomach and brain together? And I hope that you will realize that this is fully possible because Aditya, he is today an assistant professor in India at the Anant National University in Ahmedabad, Gujarat in Indian, and active working with sustainable farming. But he started his career in oncology, cancer research, as a molecular biology, done a postdoc, and then been a attorney in the United States at the Johns Hopkins. And from what I understand, it was there something happened with your career. Something happened with you that made you take a decision to move from molecular biology and oncology to farming. And that is what we're going to start today discussing with you. So, Aditya, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Thank you, Tina. It's my pleasure to be here. I am very well.
Yeah, you are very well. I know where you are sitting, it's very hot. It's almost 40 degrees, and we have only 20 degrees where I'm sitting in Sweden. I'm going to start asking you the question. When did you start to feel in your gut that you wanted to make a change in your career? When did that when did that feeling start popping up for you?
Yeah. So this is a very interesting question. As you said, Tina, back in 2016, I was in USA at Johns Hopkins University as a Fulbright
Mm.
scholar doing a part of my PhD research there. My PhD research topic was very sad, and I was totally into it, doing as I was meant to. But certainly, I don't remember the exact day, but I came across few articles which gave me some horrifying numbers about farmer suicide back in India. I
Yeah.
didn't believe those numbers. I started talking to friends, to other important people who are associated with farming, and it seemed that the numbers were true.
Mm.
Actually, it stated that every 28 to 30 minutes, one farmer in India commits suicide, which was a little
Oh.
unbelievable for me at that point of time because the person who is growing food for us, if the community is committing suicide at this rate, then there is certainly a dangerous problem.
Mm.
Um, I guess that was the first point which actually shook me and initiated the thought process within my brain. I started to be more involved with this farming. And over the next few months and years, I started talking with people. I had actually started my own initiative back in a small village in India to try out
Mm.
farming to understand what the problem is. I started more interaction with the farmers, but at the end, I only
Mm.
realized that my interest actually lies in this field.
Your interest actually lies in that field. And you know, I'm a coach, so now I'm even more interested. What was it that when you listen to all these farmers, what did you learn that made you be even more interested than reading the articles? What was it? What stories did they tell that triggered you to be so interested?
Yeah. So I guess I have this small skill to listen to people, especially those who are a little less privileged. Somehow I like talking
Mm,
to those people from long back. But
mm,
after 2016, I started talking with farmers. But I realized that whatever they are saying, it is true, and the problem is very complex and multifold. So there is no one solution to end the misery of a farmer, right? But they seem to be very, very honest when they talk about their problems and when they talk about their daily lives. And the problem is so complex that people, including politicians, non-profit organizations, and individuals, all have been trying in their own ways to solve the problem. The scale may vary, but there have been efforts
mm,
since many, many years, but still the numbers are horrifying in the present day. So it might not be now 30 minutes, it's maybe closer to 40 or 50 minutes, but still there are more than 24 suicides per day in India. Although the situations have become a little better for farmers in India, but there is a long way to go. And I feel that being a citizen of the country and being from a very privileged background, being so educated, uh, I should do something, my small bit for the community.
mm, mm. That's a wonderful. So what I hear, what you like to contribute. You consider yourself coming from a privileged area, and you like to contribute. So if you now look at that, what do you think you can contribute with?
Yeah. My initial thought was after my postdoctoral research, I thought the best way to contribute is to get engaged or attached with some non-profit organizations. And there are many in India
Yeah.
which do great work in the areas of farming, or they work with farmers to solve their issues. But I also realized that my background or my degrees do not support that exactly. Many of the NGOs will not prefer a PhD because a PhD degree might not directly add value to them. They may prefer people from other than life sciences background, say maybe from policy or economics or other background. I was not the right choice, anyways. The other two option for me um, was to continue in academia but change my field, which was again very different, as you might know. That in
Mm.
academia,
Yes.
people would surely look into your past degree as well as your research publication in the relevant area. And I did not have
Mm.
any of them. What I had was my interest and passion. I understood the problem and I was passionate to solve at least a small part of it. Apart from that, neither did I have any skill set, nor did I have
Mm.
any formal degree in agriculture. So the third option for me was to start my own initiative. But again, starting your own initiative without much of money in your pocket um, is a risky affair. Um, so I actually did not have a clear direction when I wanted to transition. But over the period of time when I started talking to people, uh, I approached several organizations. I had applied for jobs, got several rejections. But somehow the events turned up in a way that currently am recognized and appointed by a university as an assistant professor, where they agreed and they believe that I can contribute in establishing sustainable farming within the university.
Mm.
And that will be beneficial not only for the students, but also for the farmers community in general in time to come.
Mm. I need to go back to something you said that made me a little bit sad, because you said that many of the NGOs, they don't value the PhD from the field you are, oncology and molecular biology. And I felt, why can't they see the value of that? Well, could you help me to understand? Because you know that, you learned that because you tried.
Yeah, because I would put this in a different way. So why would they take me in their organization and don't take
Mm,
a master's in economics or a master's in policy, or even a master's in social sciences? Why wouldn't they take them? They can easily hire them in a lesser salary than they will get a PhD. Of course, PhD would demand a little higher salary than a master's, right?
mm,
Uh,
mm.
and if I was a PhD in agriculture, maybe the scenario would have been a little different for me. But I was not a PhD in agriculture as well. I was
Oh,
a molecular and a cell biology studying diseases like cancer uh, uh, or muscles development during my postdoctoral studies. So I was not fit in any of the way for the NGOs. So just
mm,
telling them about my passion was not enough for them to recruit me.
mm. And this is sad, isn't it? That you have non-profit organizations, and I think many times they should select people for the passion and the drive, because people with a passion, they will learn very quickly. But instead, this is also the experience. I hear that from many other PhDs. They apply for non-profit organizations, and they don't even come for the first interview, because it's sort of just matching the perfect skill to the job ad. And personally, I think it's super sad, because they miss the people with the genuine interest that you obviously have. And that is, now I'm going to take you to a time journey here, because you discovered something in yourself when you wanted to go from molecular biology, aiming for biotechnology, pharmaceutical industry, and then to farming. I want to go back when you decided to do a PhD. Why did you decide to do a PhD in cancer research? What was the drive behind that?
Yeah. So I completed my bachelor's in microbiology and then did my master's in biochemistry. And
Mm,
leaving aside the topic, the best option for many of the masters currently in India is to pursue higher education. The reason being, PhD probably opens more options, more career options, rather than a master's. So, an obvious choice is PhD uh, for most of people. But for me, from masters onwards, I was very curious about research. I would spend extra time in laboratory doing research with bacteria and other stuffs, even when that was not a part of my curricular syllabus. So I am
mm,
very deeply interested in finding new things and research in general. So the obvious choice, because of my interest and also because from the point of view of career options, was going into a PhD. Now, cancer biology still now is a very exciting subject, right? We still have
mm,
a long way to go. And about 10 years back, it was equally or a little more exciting then. And then I happened to see this opportunity in a very reputed institute where they had opened a position in cancer biology. I
mm,
applied to this position as well as a couple of other positions, but I happened to be selected here, and I was very happy for two reasons. One is I would be pursuing my PhD, and the second
mm,
is I would understand the disease a little more after my PhD.
mm,
Sadly,
mm, mm,
my grandmother died of breast cancer. Uh,
Okay.
Back
Yeah.
then, I did not understand a lot about cancer, although I knew what cancer is. But that was additional reason for me to dive into this subject.
Mm, mm. So, can you see now when you explain why you went into cancer research and now sustainable farming? What do they actually have in common? These two career options that you decided to take. Can you see that, or what would you say?
I guess one thing when I think of it now is
Mm.
common in both of them is possibly my intent to help the community. So, what I realized while in the fag end of my PhD or doing my postdoc research is I was doing decent research. I had published decent papers as well in reputed journals.
Mm.
But the benefit to the community is not neither it is very direct and not very quick. So the benefit of my research might show up in say few decades time. So over the period of years, I started feeling that my action should benefit people directly and sooner than later. So that led me
Yeah.
to go or rather venture into an area where possibly I can my activities would benefit the people directly and sooner
Mm.
than later.
And sooner, yeah. Mm. Mm. What I hear from you is that you like to help people and you like to make an
Yeah,
impact. Yeah. People you and you correlate it to your grandma, and then when you listen to the farmers, you hear how they suffer, you hear, and you can also, what I hear is that, but it doesn't have to be like that. Farmers commit suicide, but if with some changes they could be successful farmers instead, and that will make a great impact on my country and my society. And that, of course, goes for cancer as well. It's an impact. This is what I hear, that you like to help. You like to help people and support people. Was a wonderful skill. And that you apply differently. So now coming back to, because I know you have other dreams. We talked before the recording of the podcast here that you also like to help people on other levels here. You like to help them in their careers.
absolutely.
Yeah. And where did that come from? How did that pop up on your mind here?
Yeah, I guess you very rightly said, Tina, that uh, my uh, I want to I like helping people, right? Whether it
Mm.
is farmers or whether it is people of my own community, which are scholars, PhDs or
Yeah,
postdocs,
yeah.
right? So when I was in my first year of my postdoc, I happened to know about national symposium, which was conducted
Mm,
by that institute along with in collaboration with
mm,
another institute, and the symposium did amazing things to help people. In the first year, I only heard about it. In the second year, I volunteered. I was a part of that symposium. I helped conduct the symposium. And in the third year, I was the lead of that initiative of the symposium, along with a wonderful team, of course, I
mm.
should say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And
of course.
I felt joy doing that. I felt very happy that my initiative in small ways are helping my own people of my own community. So I guess
Mm,
I derive pleasure from these activities, whether it is helping farmers
mm,
or whether it is helping people of my own community. And mind you, this is direct help. This help is not
mm.
will not show after 20, 30, 40 years.
No, it's a direct
Yeah,
help and direct
yeah,
impact, actually. And what's beautiful with that is that you have learned when you wanted to do your initial transition, when you were realizing when you interviewed the farmers and you wanted to, okay, then an obvious choice was, of course, that you say, okay, then I go to these NGOs. And then you were rejected. And I can hear between the lines here that you were disappointed and say, why? Because I want to work with that. And if I have the background I have, how can I then get a job like that? It must be possible. I feel misunderstood. And now by helping people in their careers, you most likely can help them to find another way, another look at it from a different perspective. So you can still actually go for your passion, even though the first step is a reaction and a disappointment, because you didn't give up.
Yeah,
You decided, I don't take this for a no. But if you look into the future and you start to dream big, how would you like, you know, I would like you to think these NGOs and so that look for the perfect candidate rather than looking at the drive, the passion, and the interest. What advice would you like to give these organizations? What changes in the recruitment process would you like them to take a look at? Or talent management, I would say. Yeah,
yeah. I guess one big factor here is money.
it's
Globally,
money.
not only in India, but globally, it is generally seen, or the usual trend is, good job should be done for free, right?
Mm,
I guess this is not a good trend, not only in India, but it's globally. So you often have very less money for people who are doing actually very impactful job on the ground, right? And this trend has to change globally. So you need to put a lot of
mm,
money to attract really good people. Why would a PhD go into this job? They gain a lot of skill sets, but money is one of the criteria which uh,
mm,
do not allow the recruiters to recruit PhD and the PhDs to also
mm,
apply in these sort of jobs. So I
mm,
guess if by any chance if we can pour in a lot of money for good work, right, or for the direct impactful work, I guess the scenario can change slowly.
mm, mm. I think you're pointing to something that's super important here. And I completely agree with you. It has for a while been a trend that certain jobs they should be for free. And you look at the job I do, being a coach. Oh no, you should do that for free. I said, yeah, of course I can do that, but I have to pay my bills. Yeah, I need food on my table. So if no one pay me, and I could it be so that we have, and also organization, they use people. I say that, Aditya, you are very welcome to argue against me, but I would say that certain organizations, and that could also be universities and other organizations, they use people's passion, so they work for free.
I
Mm.
totally agree.
And I say, and I would say it's like not respecting the value they actually give. So the value they actually have is just reduced to nothing. And I can see a huge risk on that. And it's not only NGOs and these organizations, it's actually a business that I've been in, coaching, fitness. Fitness business is the same. When you're a fitness instructor, you're hardly paid, but it's people do it because they're so passionate about it. People do coaching for free because they like to help people so much. But the point is, in the long term, if I don't charge, I can't help people. So we say in PhD career stories, and I say to you, charge, pay. You must charge and you must pay for services because that's the only sustainable way of surviving helping. It is actually to involve money in some way. So I think it's a very important topic that you take up or bring up on the table because PhD shouldn't sell the services for free. It shouldn't. There's too much value in it. So thank you. But what do you think we have to do about it, or what could we do about it?
I guess the move has to be from both sides, bottom up as well as top down.
Mm,
Uh, the move coming from either way will not be sustainable for long. So, if people demand, but the institutes or the governments do not listen, then it would be hardly of
mm,
any use. And on the other side, if institute or organizations or governments want to do something, but if people are not willing to receive or to use that, it will be useless then as well. So I guess I don't know how awareness can be increased more in the system in a whole. But for certainly
mm,
the move has to be appreciated, acknowledged, and taken forward, both from the top as well as from the bottom.
mm, mm. And also that now you when you're interested in career service activities to bring into the system and mindset both from university and private clients that you should have some money involved in the business, because when you bring in money in the business, there is a responsibility on it. If it's for free, you can't. If I coach you for free, for example, and you don't like me, it's you can't get the money back. But if you disappointment, you can always say, Tina, I'm paying you. I expect professional coaching here, so you have something to talk about when it comes to responsibility. Yeah. So that was okay. That's very interesting. I think I'm sitting thinking here because this is an important topic. That's very important. But now when you work as an assistant professor, how can you now start and what are you doing to help the farmers? So the listeners say, okay, now you are an assistant professor in your university environment. What can you concretely or what are you concretely doing
Yeah,
to help them?
yeah. So I should say that it is still. Uh, I've just started my efforts, and it will take some time to see fruits on the ground. But I should tell you what I've started. So what I've done
Mm,
is I have let students and farmers interact. Farmers would tell the problems to students, and students would at the least, be aware of the problems, if not find a solution for
mm,
them. And this awareness, small awareness, also counts in the society.
mm,
So
mm,
I've tried to connect the community with the farmer. The second
mm,
is right now I have a bunch of young minds in my team, and I'm trying
mm,
to develop sustainable farming practices so that in future maybe they can do wonders for the farmers and the farming system in general. So I'm
mm.
working with two young minds in the university.
Yeah, yeah, you're probably doing that. Yeah. And may I ask the farmer challenge in your country, what is that based on?
So if you ask me what's the root cause of a problem is, I guess I should say that there is a great disconnect between people who consume and between people who grow our food.
Yeah.
I guess a good connect will solve a lot of problems. Now,
Yeah.
second, farming has not been very profitable or a lucrative business in any of the countries, be it USA or be it India or any of the European countries. There are only few farmers who are
Mm,
rich, and most of the farmers do
mm,
not belong to the rich category. And one of the reason is their output depends a lot on the things which they can't control. Say, for example, which is
mm,
weather. Say, for example, second is the demand side of the consumer. Right? These things are
mm,
not controlled by the farmers. Right? So there
mm,
are few uncertainties which make farming not as much profitable, but certainly things can improve if people gets more and more connected to the farming, and people will find solutions in different ways, be it giving more
mm, mm,
money to the farmers, be it valuing the farmers knowledge, and people will find their own customized solutions. But first you have to be connected and value what a farmer does.
mm. Yeah. And what about this one here? If I know my country, and but I don't know your country. What is about the status? job status being a farmer in India? Is that a high or low status job?
Of course, not a high status; it's a low status, and
It's a low status job. Yeah.
absolutely. And I don't remember the numbers correctly now, but there is this very uh, uh, bad trend which is going on, that people who are from farming backgrounds are leaving their professions each day. I can't say the
Mm.
numbers now, but if people continue to do so, then who would grow food for us?
Exactly. That's the awareness, maybe. Yeah, because that's the situation in my country. We have hardly any farmers left, and suddenly people, and we got this war in Ukraine, and suddenly, the food prices are going up, and yeah, we have no farmers left. Very few. Okay. Okay. I need to eat. Yeah, but maybe we should start to appreciate to have farmers. And also, as you said so nicely here, that appreciate the food we are eating. So it's high quality food that is produced by our local farmers. So if they are appreciated and have a high status, and get money for what they do, maybe things starts to change. I need to understand that what I'm eating needs to be produced somewhere. Yeah.
Yes, and
Mm,
value people who are
mm.
producing.
Yeah, value people that produce and
Yeah,
serve. That's an that I think that's very interesting perspective. And honestly, this is something that came very quickly in my country here, that people started to realize when, okay, wait a minute here, we are buying. Okay, we can't buy from Ukraine any longer, and then we can't buy from there. Okay, we need farmers in this country. So now we can see there is a new generation of younger people. And it's interesting because I actually visit a farming industry here in south part of Sweden, and it was not what I expected. I thought I would see a lot of people, doing hands-off job. No, they have machines for everything, and it's super digitalized. Was far away from what I thought. I mean, the machines and digitalization has moved into the farming completely,
yeah,
even for the animal care. So it's a high tech industry at the moment. Yeah, so it's cool. Yeah, so I think that's a very your sustainable farming is part of what I hear from you. Is part what you want to do is actually to connect the societies. They understand there is a connection what you get in your stomach from what the people actually produce on the field. Mm, mm. Did you discover that feeling when you visited United States?
so the first feeling that I should do something for the community started
Mm,
when I was in the United States. The first trigger was there when
yeah.
I was in the US, but
Mm,
I, of
mm,
course, did not know what to do. So
mm,
I started planning quite a few things. I returned back to India. I started a couple of my own initiative in a village, as I said.
mm,
Started talking with farmers, started understanding their problem by direct interaction.
mm,
So all of this helped enrich my experience and knowledge a little bit.
mm.
And
Yeah.
the good thing about this is the interests over the few years never faded away.
Mm.
So, which just reinforced the belief that the interest is not a false interest, it's not fake.
It's not a false interest. But I'm going to twist the question a bit and say, like, hypothetically, if you hadn't went to United States, you had stayed in India, do you think you would have this position today then?
Uh, I'm not very sure about it.
No,
I'm not very
thank you for
sure.
being honest. Yeah. But this is maybe why it's important. This is what we career coaches say, and life people say. The best thing you can do is to travel and see the world. You will be inspired, and you will find a way. So maybe that is, you needed to do that trip to find your passion in
Maybe.
United
Yeah.
States somewhere. You were inspired.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We
Yeah.
don't know, but we I'm going to take you back where you are here and now, and that is I like to look into the future with you. So where do you think you're going to be in 3 to 4 years? What do you think you do then?
Uh, I guess, to be honest, since I said I'm not as skilled as some of the
Mm,
people who are from agricultural background, right? So I need to hone my skills. I need to read a lot more to be able to deliver more to the students, and I need to find ways where I can have better impact and direct impact to farmers. Still, I'm trying to figure out what is the best way that I can do. Of course,
mm,
teaching students, teaching young mind is a very good thing, and you are preparing them for the future. That is a good thing, which is of course on the table. But as I said, I want to see the impact that I am creating in the next few weeks or months. So I am still trying
mm.
to find out the best way how I can do that, being in a university
Yeah.
system.
Mm,
Yeah, that is one. Uh,
mm,
Now, second, I guess in next 3 to 5 years, I I hope that I would be in this area. I see myself being involved in work which has more and direct impact to farmers, but also on the sideline, as you said, I also want to have impact on my own community, on like say PhD and
yeah.
postdoc
Yeah.
scholars.
Mm, mm,
So I want
mm,
to
mm.
work on both the areas probably next 3 to 5 years. Yeah,
So, yeah, your sound disappeared here. I'm sorry. So I like to take you now. We have been, going back and forward, but I like to bring you in the future here now, Aditya, and that ask you where you are today as an assistant professor, where you think you're going to be in the next 3, 5 years. What are you going to
yeah,
do, and what impact do you think you will have with the research you do?
yeah. I guess I would like to see myself in a position where I have more direct and a better impact to the farmers. Of course, at this point of time, I'm still trying to find the best way to do this. I've joined a new university, and I'm engaging with young minds, and I guess that is good for the future. But as I said, I want direct and immediate impact. So I'm trying to find ways, in the best ways in which I can do that, being in a university system.
Mm,
So in I guess next 3 to 5 years, I would like to see myself delivering much more and better impact to the farmer's life. That is one
mm,
aspect. And on the sidelines, as you said and we have discussed earlier, I would also
mm,
like to be more involved in creating impacts in scholars' life, both PhDs and
mm.
postdocs in India. So in both the areas, I would like to contribute.
Yeah, yeah, wonderful dreams, and I'm sure you will succeed with that. So we're coming to gonna come to closing the podcast here. We're coming to the end, but I would like you to start to reflect over, if you describe yourself, what would you say makes you unique?
Um, I'm not sure whether I'm unique, but um, but
Everyone is unique.
yeah, uh, but I guess I I feel more connected to people. I feel more
Mm,
connected to people, and I like seeing my effort impacting their life, their academic life, their daily life, or whatever it is. Yeah. So
you
yeah,
like
I
to
guess
impact
this
people.
is something which I cherish. Which I cherish. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I can see the uniqueness. You reached out to this podcast, and the way you have helped people, and your deep passion to be curious about things. It's amazing, and not giving up. So I would say it's been an honor to have you here, and I wish you good luck with supporting and helping farmers in your country, I think is a major impact that you're going to do, because in the end, if they don't produce the food, there will not be splendid food for the rest of the people in the population. And also that, impacting people in their careers. And I know you have a deep interest in developing career development for people in India, PhDs and academically trained people. And I'm sure you will succeed fantastically with that. So thank you a lot, Aditya, for being here in this podcast, PhD Career Stories. And to you guys who have listened or watched this podcast, I say thank you very much. I know we have people from all over the world watching us. So this was Tina Persson from PhD Career Stories. And don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, or go to our webpage, phdcareerstories.com. I tell you that we have new things coming up, and I have a new host coming up in our channel, so just stay tuned. And if you know anyone with a story, don't hesitate to reach out to us and give us a name. Or maybe if you are interested, just let us know. So this was Tina Persson from PhD Career Stories. Goodbye.